You seem like the kind of guy that could jump into life pretty quick.
Well, I like to think so, yes.
Yeah. Well, man, it's great to meet you. Where are you located?
I'm looking in Puerto Rico. I'm
Oh,
actually in my studio in Puerto Rico.
I
So
love
I
it, dude.
moved here about 4 years ago due to the tax incentives in Puerto Rico. So I like to think that the Puerto Rican government pays me $500,000 a year to live here.
Wow. That's amazing, man. Well, I'm coming out of the center of America. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City. I do a lot of business in Kansas City. Kansas City has a very good land bank. I've been buying a lot of properties in Kansas City.
There's a lot of business that goes down here. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, it's great to meet you, and I can't wait to get into your life and your story. And to begin with, today's kind of like the 4-year anniversary of this pandemic. How did you get through the pandemic, and how did it change you?
It did not affect me at all because a lot of the stuff that we are doing, we do a lot of this stuff online. We search for properties online. We still were able to sell properties online when it comes to my real estate stuff, right?
Yeah.
On the educational stuff, I actually launched this guy, the Deed Hunter, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it was the birthmark for a very rewarding project. And now we are a nation of 3,000 DD hunters, and everything started during the pandemic.
Right on. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do as the deed hunter. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders at career day. One of the
Okay.
kids is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
So it's very simple. I got to play Monopoly every day. I got to play CSI investigation every day. And in a short time, I'm Indiana Jones because I hunt for treasures.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that, every county in US holds a list of, on average, 5,000 properties. And my job is to grab a hold of that list and understand and locate the good properties, separate from the bad properties,
Yeah.
pay the taxes they're owed on the good properties, turn around it and sell it for profit.
Yeah.
And that's why I was able to do my best case study with a property that I bought for $6,342.79 and sold for $1.5 million 2 years after that.
Wow, that's amazing. So,
Yeah.
what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
My dream was to become a veterinarian.
Okay.
And as you know, probably noticed, I'm not from US, I'm from Brazil.
Yeah.
And although I'm a Brazilian, my life wasn't always a carnival. So I came to US in pursuit of the American dream with $100 in my pocket because I didn't have enough money to go to vet school. I certainly could not afford to study full time. So early on I had to make a choice. I either gonna go to the university or to college, or or I'm gonna go survive. I'm gonna work to make a living.
Yeah.
So I decided to work to make a living. For the longest part of my life, there was like a weight on my shoulders. I felt bad that I had a college degree, and guess what? Nowadays, I'm teaching guys that went to Harvard School how to make money.
Yeah.
I recently just retired a guy that went to Harvard Business School, and he was like, Marcos, I'm PhD at Harvard, and I'm learning stuff from you that I haven't learned in Harvard. And when I started work with him, his last paycheck was $700,000 a year. And in what we do, we were able to retire him in a year and a half.
Wow. So, how did this begin? How did this fascination with property and deeds, how did all of this kind of steamroll into who you are today?
Well, when I came to US, I learned there's three pillars to build wealth, right? So the first pillar is you gotta have your own business. I never met anybody that became multi-millionaire working for somebody else. So if you're not building your dream, you're building somebody else's dream. Okay. The second pillar is you gotta learn about investments. You gotta learn how to put the money to work for you. And that has to do with stocks, crypto, whatever, right? And the third pillar, it's real estate. 75% of multimillionaires in the world became multimillionaire through real estate.
Yeah.
And most likely that a lot of people that the most money they made in their life in one shot is when they sold a house or a property that they had that appreciate throughout the years,
Yeah.
right? So I do the same thing, but on a weekly basis and a monthly basis, I sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties. So then I realized, so I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Ever heard of
Okay.
it?
Oh yeah.
Do you have that book with you?
I don't right now, but I know all about the book.
Awesome. And if you one of your listeners have that book, burned it. Okay?
Okay.
Because what we call cash flow is the biggest bogus ever exists. So I started investing in real estate early on. I was driving for FedEx at the time. I used to deliver boxes for FedEx. And I drove for FedEx for 14 years. I had all kinds of jobs when I came to US. I worked in construction, I cleaned houses, I had a restaurant. So my last gig was a FedEx driver. Today I have a different relationship with FedEx. Instead of delivering boxes, I get checks in the mail every week. But the reality is, early on, as working for FedEx, I read the book, I started investing in real estate, had about, I would say eight properties. And then around 2004, a friend of mine gave me a book, and he was like, Marcos, you need to read this book. It talks about the two oldest form of investment that ever exists. In one of them, you can make up 36% return per year, guaranteed by law. And then the second one, you can buy properties as low as $50. So I went over the book. There was no pictures, and I thought, was like, this is boring because I don't like to read, right? I read, and now I learned that read is important. So I didn't like to read at the time. There was no pictures in the book, so I throw that book in my office, and that book stood there for 5 years. I kept doing what I was doing, and I had about 17 properties. In 2007, do you remember what happened?
Oh, in '07? Yeah,
Yes.
everything crashed. Yeah.
Exactly. So I lost everything. I was retired from FedEx. My goal was to do real estate full time. I was 6 months doing that. And I was able, out of the 17 properties, I was able to salvage one property.
Wow.
I was doing a flip in Houston, Texas. So I moved to Houston, Texas, went back to work for FedEx. And end of 2008, beginning of 2009, I was cleaning my office and I found that book. Just so you know, I clean my office more often than every 5 years, okay? So I found the book, I started reading it, and I was like, I can get back in the game, because I thought my real estate career was over because I didn't have money, I didn't have credit, I didn't have anything. And I realized I can go to my local county and start buying properties for pennies on a dollar. So I remember buying a property for $750. That was one of the county's inventory. And I took about 3 weeks to get the deed of the property. I went to the property, put a for sale sign. It was an empty lot. Put a for sale sign, and I sold it on the same day, cash,
Wow.
for $5,500.
Wow.
And the rest is history. So I've
Yeah.
been doing this for 15 years, bought and sold over 4,500 properties. Today, I manage a portfolio around $10 million. And I'm ahead of a community of deed hunters like myself, and we're about 3,000 deed hunters out there.
Wow. Who's been a hero for you, an inspiration in your life?
Oh, I have many, but one of the guys that I owe a lot to is I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but his name is Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
So Tony Robbins I'm a Tony Robbins. I'm a Tony's guy. I haven't done every single program for Tony. I'm part of a leadership mastery from Tony. And Tony Robbins was the guy that inspired me to create this character, the deed hunter, that now became me. In the beginning was a character. Now it became myself. So I'm actually the deed hunter, not just in character. I dress up like this on a daily basis. This is not just for your show.
Right on. So if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now that you find fascinating or admire, who would it be?
I never had the opportunity to have a one-on-one talk with Tony, but would be Tony Robbins.
Yeah. So what is it every day that motivates you? You obviously are very highly
and you
driven.
know why? And you know why I would like to meet Tony?
Yeah, yeah. Why?
Because everybody else, when they're in trouble, all the presidents, head of the nations, artists, entrepreneurs, they all call him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it would be amazing. That guy can bend the energy in a room pretty quick.
100%. I create this figure called the Deed Hunter,
Yeah.
right? Um, I remember in 2018, I was leaving a Tony event. I was working at a Tony event called Day with Destiny. It was in Fort Lauderdale, and I keep hearing Tony saying, "You can't have customers. You gotta have raving fans." And I was like, F you, Tony. It's easy for you to say because you're a Tony Robbins, right?
Yeah.
And I keep like I have this anger inside me. I was like, how can I do that? I don't know how to do that. So after I left that event, I decided I was like, I need to come up. I need to create something. And I remember taking my Aston Martin and I drove from Miami all the way to Houston, Texas. Usually you do in 16 hours, but I drove a little bit faster than that.
Yeah.
And on that journey, I ended up going to, and I was like, man, I need to create a persona. I need to create a character. So what that's gonna be. And one of my favorite things in life is Monopoly game. I love
Oh yeah.
Monopoly. I
My
collect
son
Monopoly.
loves it. Yeah.
I collect more Monopolies, and I was like, should I be the Monopoly guy? But then there's some naming rights attached to it, image
Yeah.
rights. What should I do? So I went on Amazon and I bought $2,500 worth of costumes. So this is a very interesting story, and if you are a business owner, you're gonna take a lot of nuggets out of it. So I got to my office and I started, testing all those customs that I bought, and nothing was sinking in. Nothing was connecting, right? And then I was already feeling defeated. And I look at the corner of my office, and there was a cowboy hat in the office, right? Texas, right? So it's standard.
Yeah.
And I remember that for the past 15 years, I kept telling people that my three favorite things that I do for a living is not buying properties from auctions, it's not buying properties from the local county. It's I play Monopoly every day. The only difference, the $50 is not pink, is real. I buy and sell properties.
Yeah.
I exercise my favorite TV series, which was CSI Investigation, because when I go to the county records, I gotta know if people are alive, if they're dead, if they have liens on the properties and all that stuff. And then the third thing was Indiana Jones, because I hunt for treasures,
Yeah.
right? That's how I found this property that I paid 6,000 sold for $1.5 million.
Yeah.
So as soon as I said that Indiana Jones treasure hunt, something clicked.
Yeah.
And I was like, treasure hunter, property hunter,
Yeah.
house hunter, deed hunter, the deed hunter.
Yeah.
Then I looked around and I saw the cowboy hat and I put that on. And I looked at the camera, and part of me was like, that's stupid. You look so weird and stupid. And part of me was like, that's why you should do it.
Yeah.
So, but watch this. And then I kind of took on that persona. And every action figure or every hero has a mission. And what was my mission? My mission became not to teach you about real estate, not to teach you how buy properties from the county. It's how can you rewrite your story? The same way I was able to rewrite my story, the same way that I went from a truck driver to a millionaire in 4 years, the same way that I was able to conquer the American dream. And for a lot of Americans, you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but check this out. Then I took upon this image. I create this guy. I create the Deed Hunter. And then after I started doing lives, and I'll say, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start sharing my content for free. Nowadays, I share 97% of my content for free. I can teach you in less than 30 minutes how to buy a property for $100 and sell for 5,000.
Yeah.
Right? And why do I do that? I don't care. There's 11.5 million properties available out there. I I don't care how much money you have, how much money I have. We can never gonna buy everything that's out there. So let's operate on the abundance mindset and share that information. And after I started doing that, my life was transformed.
Yeah.
And you know, after 30 days that I took on the Did Hunter and I went out on the social media with the message and a mission, something very, very scary happened. Would you like to know what it was?
I would love to.
Maybe next time we meet. No, I'll tell you what it was. Um, People would start sending me photos dressing up as the Deed Hunter. They were
Nice.
dressing their kids as a Deed Hunter. So when we do our live events, and we create a very cool live event where you come in and the whole room is a real estate market. There's
Yeah.
no chairs. There's no paper for you to write. I transformed the room into a real estate market.
Yeah.
There is a bank where you need to go get a loan and negotiate and learn about contracts. There is an auction house that auction properties every 10 minutes. There's over 3,000 properties that you need to analyze and underwrite before you put a bid on. There's LLCs that you're going to form with people within the room and you have to negotiate amongst yourselves. There's the county offices that you need to go to do the research, right? It's alive.
Yeah.
And then we manipulate the market condition every 10 minutes. So we simulate the 10-year cycle of real estate every 10 minutes,
Yeah.
and you need to come up with the different strategies. So
Yeah.
every time we do the game, that's why I call this live event. And the last time we played for 5 hours and it was about 700 people playing it. And they were like, oh my God, we just played for 30 minutes. What's going on? Everybody showed up dressing up as the Deed Hunter.
That's awesome. That is wonderful.
Because it has a message to it. So your audience is not looking, or nobody's looking to make more money.
Right.
You would think about on a superficial level that we want to make more money, but we don't give a shit about making more money. What we care is, I'm sorry, I don't know if I could curse. If not, you just put a beep.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine.
What we care is what the money can provide to us. It can provide comfort, can provide security, can provide peace of mind, can provide free time, can provide the ability to spend more time in who we like, where we like, when we like. That's what we're going after.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everybody would like to rewrite the story.
Yeah.
For instance, what did you dream when you were 7?
Well, I wanted to be a cop. I watched Chips when I was a kid, and then I watched Cops when I was older, and I was like, yeah, I don't think so. So I had to revise things. But I always wanted to be a broadcaster. That was always my dream.
There we go.
Yeah.
And
So,
we live in an amazing time, right? Because if it was 20 years ago, you would not have that opportunity unless you're part of the big network. That's one of the things that fascinating about the internet. It became it's accessible to everybody.
yeah. Yeah.
Like myself, I can reach people all over the world.
Yeah.
And transform
sure.
their lives that way.
Yeah. So what is the motivation? You're very highly motivated. You got a lot going on. What gets you up every day, and what not makes you not only be successful, but to evolve as a human?
I'll tell you this. I think when I started my journey, I learned and I came across something called self-development. That's what most people ignored. That's what most people think is like a topic, right? But understanding our programming and understanding how we behave, we all, as a child, receive a program. Especially on the financially side, it's almost like every single one of us have a financial thermostat. And that financial thermostat was programmed based on what you heard and what you experienced and what you saw around money and wealth, right?
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. Like 99% of our decisions is based on the subconscious mind, not on the conscious mind. So one of the things that that's responsible for my success is because early on, I was able to develop not only the strategies, not only the strategies how to make money, but also work in myself personally, self growth. That's why I came attracted to Tony Robbins, to Harv Eker, Rock Thomas, you name it. I have many mentors out there, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that led me to something, to a discover that to me it's responsible for my life. I learned from Tony that every human has at least six human needs that's come from the Maslow, pyramid.
Yeah.
And my two strongest one is significance and love and contribution, right?
Yeah.
So I feel very significant when I can get somebody from zero and turn them into a hero.
Yeah.
That's my drive,
Yeah.
right? And I feel, and I can share and love and contribute that way. So that means I'm stuck. I didn't have to be here right now. I had no financial need to be inside the studio. And yet tonight I'm going to do a class for 2,000 people. Make sense?
Yeah. Sure.
My wife asks sometimes, like, we live in Puerto Rico. This is a paradise. Let's go to the beach. I was like, what am I going to do in the beach? I'm just going to sit and stare at the sea, right? Which
Yeah.
is we do often. And she was like, I cannot understand why you stay 12, 13 hours inside your studio. Because I'm doing what I like.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of my mission, my purpose. Make sense?
Yeah.
Because at the beginning, I was the guy that dreamed about to make a living buying and selling properties.
Yeah.
I done that.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to work for FedEx anymore. Then I said, I want to be the number one expert in the United States on the subject.
Yeah.
I done that. I buy properties left and right. That doesn't even excite me anymore. It's not that I don't care about the money, but at the end of the day, I feel more fulfilled and happy if I can get you to do a deal
Yeah.
than if I do one on my own.
For sure. So at the end of the day,
I lost you. I don't know if it's you or me, but I lost you. Okay, you're back now, I guess.
okay, we good? Okay. So
Yeah.
what I was going to ask you is all of these things that you've done, become, and evolved into over your life, what are you the proudest of?
I'm the most proud of the stuff that we are accomplishing inside the community. I'm most proud of families that are being reestablished, people that were dead inside and they become alive and they understand there's more to life than just money. And there's a fulfillment that, because once you figure it out, the money side of things, now you can do whatever you want. Now you can do what God puts in this world to do. And a lot of times we're forced to do something that we don't like in sake of survival. Well, at the end of the day, I gotta pay the bills. And throughout the years, we convince ourselves that we are happy. We convince ourselves that we are fulfilled and that we like what we do. Well, let's do a test. If there's no money involved, there's no paycheck, no payment, would you show up to work tomorrow doing what you do now? That's one way of measure.
Sure.
The second way of measure. So let's say I can guarantee that you have the same amount of money coming in that you have now. You're not a millionaire per se. Maybe there's some millionaires that listen to us, but if you're not a millionaire, I can guarantee the same amount of money that you have now.
Yeah.
Would you continue to do what you do, or would you do something else? So
Yeah.
the goal is not to make a multi-million dollars, because I learned that all the answers that I was seeking from having money, it wasn't there. Money was not the answer, right? That's why I'm very connected with people. That's why my fulfillment coming from help others, not from making money, right?
Yeah.
And I don't expect that to make sense to anybody. It only has to make sense to myself.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm enough, right? And I'm gonna continue on this journey regardless of what other people think.
Yeah.
But when you realize the most valuable thing is time, not
Yeah.
even money. And most
Yeah.
people don't have that pleasure. Make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh yeah. 100% makes sense. So everyone out there has a perception of you. Family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's ultimately your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I am a guy that represents possibility to everybody that I come in contact with. I am a guy that, for the most part, people see me as a direct and a little bit harsh. I tell things like it is. I'm a guy. My perception of me is that you're never gonna be surprised by me because you know what's up. Whatever is in my mind, I'll let you know, even if you like it or not, even if other people like it or not. And I'm a guy that, under all that, has a big heart. And my main mission is to prove to you that you can do better than what you're doing right now. And that's the self-development part of me. That's the stuff that I got from Tony. That's the stuff that I got from T Harv. That's the stuff that I got from Rock Thomas, Robert Riopel, you name it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Because at the end of the day, so what people don't realize, Joe, is this. People want your level of financial success always gonna be on the same level that you are as a person.
Yeah.
So check this out. This is very simple, yet very powerful. Don't believe in a word that I said. We're gonna double check this, okay?
Yeah.
So, what have you heard stories or know somebody that they're not doing very well financially, right? And like I said, the financial part is just fruits of who you are as a person. It's just a results, right? And suddenly they win the lottery or they become an athlete or something happened and they make a lot of money right away, and the money level goes all the way to the top. Have you heard anybody on this situation?
Yeah.
What happened after 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
The money will go back, if not below where they were before.
Yeah.
Is because even though you achieve financial success, maybe you got lucky, maybe you played the lottery or whatever, you never grew as a person.
Yeah.
So if that is a fact, in order for me to rewrite my story, I should not focus on making more money.
Yeah.
Because people keep focusing making more money, they kind of make more money, and then later on they're back where you were before. I need to focus and become a better person.
Yeah.
Grow up. When I grow up as a person, the money has no other option than meet me where I'm at.
Yeah.
So check this out. Why I haven't made $40 million yet? Do you know why?
Why is that?
Because I don't think, I don't behave, I don't feel, and I don't do the same stuff that someone that makes $40 million do.
Yeah.
Once I develop that character, that mindset, that's gonna trickle down in the way I behave. And the universe has no other option than give me $40 million.
Yeah.
It will happen just like that. And
Yeah.
that's why you see a lot of people, they're wealthy, they lost it all. What happened short after that?
After they lose it all, they try to scramble and figure out what happened.
Surely they got all their money back and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ever heard a guy named Donald Trump?
Yeah.
How many times he filed for bankruptcy?
Oh, at least five, 6 times.
Right?
Yeah.
Because even though he lost his money, he never lost his millionaire mind.
Yeah.
That's his programming. That's
Right.
his mindset.
Right.
So the money has no other option than get you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if anyone wants to, what's that?
This is fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it is fascinating.
It's so
Absolutely. So
it's
if
so
anyone,
simple,
yeah.
but nobody teach the stuff in school.
Well,
That's what should be taught in school.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, financial literacy is definitely not there. So if anyone wants to tap into this brilliance that you have, they want to learn more about you, reach out. How do they do it?
Well, they can go to Instagram at the Dit Hunter World. That's my Instagram live. We run master classes, free trainings all the time. You can also email me at marcos@didhunter.com, or you can visit thedidhunterworld.com.
Right on. Marcus, this has been so nice. Thank you so much for your story. Very inspirational. Best of luck with everything.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here, and thanks so much for you to take your time and energy to bring that kind of light to the world.
Pleasure's been all mine, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, man.
Take care.